Hey everybody, what's up? It's Chris. So I am playing some Sultai Midrange today. This list is taken straight from MTG Goldfish, apart from I believe, fixed the mana base. The player's name was Rafael Ferreira da Costa. So, credit where it's due, not my list. I thought it looked really sweet. The only thing I didn't like was that there were some half off colour fetches in the mana base, which I can only assume were due to card availability rather than thinking that they're optimal. So I've just fixed those by adding additional Misties and Deltas to make sure all the fetches are all on colour. Deck looks sweet. It plays a bunch of really strong 2-mana creatures, really strong 1-mana spells, and really strong 3-mana planeswalkers. So should be pretty cool. I am looking forward to it. There's a reasonable snow theme in that you've got the Quattles and the Dead of Winter, and obviously snow basics accordingly. You're playing loads of fetches, so the Tireless Tracker should be really good. There's a lot to like about it. I also love Sultai as a colour combination, and am deeply saddened by how mediocre it tends to be. So let's hope we can do slightly better than mediocre. Let's try and, I don't know, let's try and get a 3-2 or a 4-1. I guess 3-2 is pretty mediocre, isn't it? And that tends to be my level, sadly. I've 3-2'd more leagues than I've done anything else, but let's see if we can't beat that. Not played the deck before, literally just sleeved it up, so don't set your expectations too high. But with that said, I've played decks of this ilk many times. Fair decks with interactive cheap cards in these colours are pretty much my comfort zone, so it can't go that wrong, can it? Well now, this hand, eh? I'm going to keep it, but it could be a mistake. Stating the obvious, this hand lives or dies by how good Inquisition is. Looks like Scales, so Inquisition might be good. Or it might be slow. Delta is a really, really beneficial draw. Well, Inquisition was fine, but the other two copies aren't looking so hot. So we've kind of non-voluntarily mulled to 5. Okay, and we know their hand is just a forest. I'm just going to play this. Start clocking them. And it should be nice and big because we're going to make them, well, they've already got a dead artifact. Okay, that is a big boy, but not as big as our boy. And we're going to grow our boy further. Attack. I presume they just take it. That may have been, I probably should have Serum Vision first. Drawn additional Inquisitions. Quattle's nice. And I don't see any reason not to have an extra one. Yep, that all makes sense. Stirrings, yeah. There is a very small chance we might get to make use of one of these 3 dead Inquisitions, which would be a Brucey bonus. Looking less that way. Their last card in hand is probably just another land from the looks of things. Good news is we have lethal in 2 turns. I'm going to fire one off because we've got a surplus of them. Let's try to sniff out what that last card is. Yeah, fair enough. It's pretty much, yeah, kind of looked like it was going to be something along those lines. I assume they don't block. They do, and then they put it on the Nexus. So the good thing that's going to happen is that our Coatl will block with Death Touch and will kill their Nexus. And that will be good. Because Hardened Scales is very good at killing people from nowhere. They have... Oh, I was going to say they have no choice but to attack, but... I'm just going to try and whittle their life total down to a point where the attacks, the attack is lethal basically, even through them blocking a Tarmogoyf, because they've obviously taken up a defensive stance, which is surprising when they had me dead in 2 turns and weren't going to die on the crackback. So I don't really understand, but you know. That's a good one. That represents a huge amount of blockers, because they can use this to sack it, sulk, pout, etc. I feel like we're somehow losing. Well, it's not somehow, is it? It's because of these Inquisitions, and obviously I chose to keep a hand with 3 of them, so... Can't snap Serum because we don't have the mana. I'm going to Coatl now because I don't want them to have a chance to make the bloody hanger back even bigger, and this should force them... Well, it's not should force them, it may force them. They might just take 1, which is totally fine. And by fine, I mean fine for them, not fine for me. Yeah, they may use the Phyrexia's Core now, pop this, make 3/1/1s, trade 1 here. They choose not to, which is probably smart. Okay. 4 counters is a lot of counters. Trying to keep the pressure up. I'm not sure how good or bad it was for them to tap out. Well, they do have Metalcraft, so they can hang a back Walker 1 time. Which will actually make it a 6/6, which makes this attack terrible. Oh dear. Well done, Chris. Yeah. We're in trouble now. God damn, Hardened Scales is so good. Plague Engineers, please. Collector Oofs. I don't think I want anything else. Gonna go like that. I'm a bit worried about my life total. That's the reason for cutting the Thoughtseize. Obviously, Thoughtseize is quite good against combo decks, especially on the play. I'm going to keep this. I'm going to fetch Overgrown Tomb. This hand is basically everything I want in the matchup, other than 2 tap lands, but we get to fetch Overgrown Tomb, go Inquisition into Push or Hex Drinker. Probably Hex Drinker, because I imagine they don't tend to have that many turn 1 creatures apart from the Arcbound Workers, which are like not that high of a priority for us. We're more worried about copies of Hardened Scales and then all of their quote unquote 2-drops, because I realise that Ballista and Hangabout Walker aren't always 2-drops, but they basically are. I will pay. I will take a look at your hand, please, opponent. Okay. It's my first time playing with Hex Drinker. I'm quite looking forward to that. Ah, well drawn, opponent. Very clever. Sorry about that. I was up until like 2 AM yesterday uploading a video because I went out for normal Friday Night Magic and got back. Yeah, had to do it after I got back at midnight, and then I woke up this morning to a "your video has been blocked on copyright grounds" message from YouTube, which made me sad. And then I read it through properly, and it transpires that it's only been blocked in like Israel, and I don't think I have a big Israeli following, so I think we'll be alright. Let's bash them. The Plague Engineer should be really rather helpful. That's a construct. I believe a lot of their things are constructs. Or I could even name Blink Moth so that they can't do anything clever with the Nexus. That would be fun as well. I've got 2, so I can have 1 on each, can't I? Isn't that fun? Although I'm assuming the correct second name is probably Thopter after Construct. It might be Beast because of Arcbound Ravager. One of Magic's most famous beasts, obviously being neither green nor a 3/3. Why wouldn't it be a beast? It's a weird creature type for that creature. I mean, surely if it's made out of modular parts of everything else, it's like the most what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the biggest construct I've ever seen. Please play the Metallic Mimic naming construct. No, okay. nice thing about the way minus works on with modular is that it doesn't get destroyed, it just kind of ceases to exist, so you don't get like a death trigger, I think, like you would if we just fatal pushed it and they could have responded with the Nexus or whatever. I think that's how it works. I'm not like I've never done any judging or anything like that. So, well, I don't mind that too much because it means we know their whole hand and it isn't terrifying. Oh, they've cast the stirrings. Presumably they name construct. So this is now a construct. Okay. Take 2. I quite like... Well, I pretty much like everything that's going on right now. So we can spend our next couple of turns each time playing a 2-drop plus levelling up, which is delightful. We've got them under some pressure. That's that. Evo Leap, okay. Yep. We've got Trophy for their Nexus, which is fairly dreadful. I wonder if they're going to 1 me and then Evo Leap to try and find a thing, or... The good thing about this is that they've tapped down to 1 mana, so they can't, you know, if we trophy this, they've paid 1 to activate. Okay, they've tapped down to 0 mana. So I was going to say they can't Evo Leap, basically, which suits me. This deck feels very lean, like all the spells are so cheap you can... I mean, we've been functioning more than fine on 3 mana. Presumably they start by sacking Peatland. Yep. Well, we've nothing to fear then, do we? May prompt a concession, I think. Probably should. Yeah, good. Not changing anything. That felt much better. It's amazing what a difference Plague Engineer makes to, like, the whole of Modern. What a card that is. Sort of got slept on a bit when it was released. Hand is great. Hand is great. I think if we're going to steal a game on the draw, this is how we're going to do it. Although I suspect we're still not favourites. I am... I think more interested in casting Fatal Push than Hex Drinker. When we're so pinched on mana, because I'm definitely casting Collector Oof next turn. So the reason for the Watery Grave is that I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a basic forest with this, given the way my hand is configured. Snap is good if we draw another land, obviously, and pretty lousy if we don't. Right, let's read these. After yesterday's nonsense with the bloody misclick, getting a mountain to try and cast a spell snare and then losing the game. Hopefully we can do a bit better than that. Okay. We probably need to get a duel, and it has to be green. That way I can snap push, so I think this is correct. So the reason for this is just trying to get a clock down, because they've maybe over sideboarded, hopefully. It's looking like they've got all their stuff that doesn't actually kill me going on. And I very much appreciate that. Thank you, opponent. It's very kind of you to allow me to live. This feels like a dismember or a an activation of something, because they're taking forever to pay the costs. What else could it be? Nothing with Delve, I don't think, in this deck. Maybe something with XX. Yeah, that makes some sense. Yep. Ooh, woof. Trying to decide whether to, because Dead of Winter at the moment will kill both of those plus my Hex Drinker. I'm trying to decide whether to level up the Hex Drinker and attack. I don't really want them to untap with the Ballista. I think I'm going to just play the Plague Engineer. They have to respond to me casting it. They can't wait for me to name. So in other words, if they're using the Ballista, they have to ping something now. Probably the Hex Drinker. And if they do that, then I just name Servo. And if they don't, then I just name Construct. So everything's great. Yep. Nice animation module opponent. We're doing alright. This deck is fun to play. I am very impressed with our friend Rafael Ferreira da Costa. Having failed at making successful Sultai Midrange builds myself, I've never gotten too far with it. Actually, let's just sack that, yeah. To be fair, opponents drawn a lot of lands in all these games. So I'm not necessarily sure our Hardened Scales matchup is amazing, but it currently looks pretty good. Yep. You want to make a servo? Got to get that servo value. going to kill that and start attacking them, try and get them dead. We're still sufficiently far away from dying to infect that I'm not super scared. We've got trophy for next turn to force it through. Got 8 points in play. We'll probably be fine. Hopefully I haven't played this too casually, feeling complacent, because I have been quite aggressive and proactive with that Snapcaster there. Hopefully I don't regret that. Well, that's always reassuring. Yep. What's their last card? The Nexus. So this is presumably me just taking 4 infect, sorry. Probably a land, yeah. The reason for that was that it makes Tarmogoyf bigger, basically. Can I? Yeah, I can get lethal if I trophy the scales. Because that makes Tarmogoyf a 6/7. Cool. Good. Well, I managed to not miss lethal, which makes a change. Because that was not, like, necessarily the most obvious. Cool. I have to say I did enjoy that. This deck is very nice. And I really like Hardened Scales. Like, I find it, because there's so many tricksy lines, I find it like a fun challenge to play against. I've never actually piloted the deck myself, but like I have a friend that played it for a while. We did a team event together, and obviously I was like party to some of the decisions, and I did find the deck. It's pretty unique and pretty cool. You kind of have to be very good at mental arithmetic and at shortcutting to play it optimally, I think. You have to understand that with this many scales in play, these processes equal plus this many counters, rather than, you know, at surface level it might only look like a small difference. It might act, you know, not surface level, sorry, to like a, to an unskilled eye, just glancing at the board, they might not realise how lethal things are. I think with Hardened Scales you basically have lethal from nowhere, like it even surprises yourself sometimes. Another good hand. Little bit of tension in the mana base because we want to have snow basics, but we also want to cast our spells. But that's fine, you know. I think it's going to be the same combination we went for last turn of basic forest plus watery grave, which means we need to lead on the grave so that we can Inquisition on turn 1. Come on, Hardened. Apologies if you're watching and I've just butchered your name. It's not a very English looking name, and I'm not very skilled with other languages. Ooh. That was a fun Inquisition, because we really don't know what their hand is. The only thing we know for sure is that they're going to 11 this turn, probably. They might just cycle as many as they need to find a thing like their own Inquisition or whatever. Death Shadow is such a funny deck, the play patterns. What would I take if I were them? Probably the Inquisition or the Tarmogoyf? I suppose a Quattle does threaten to block a Death Shadow really well eventually, but we're quite far off that, the way our mana's worked out. It might also be correct to just take one of the ones, because our most efficient next turn would probably be both 1-drops, but no, they don't care. Okay. We know at least there's a Bolt to take. There's a Gamangler, which I quite fancy getting rid of. And then... As painful as it is, it really shuts them down if I Thoughtseize that fish. So that's gone. So the hand is Watery Grave, Street Wraith, Stubborn Denial. So everything else, go, 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 go. Go! Classic Jund Mirror, no one has anything. Low life totals, low resources. This is proper magic. Oh, that I think seems like the wrong land to play, if you ask me. Yeah, fine. Cool. That went well. Don't know how that happened. Not complaining. What's good against them? I guess Ashiok. Nah. I was thinking about Ashiok to stop Gurmags, but the bloody Gurmags are like... What's the word I'm looking for? They sort of limit their own graveyard size anyway, so Ashiok's probably not that good. Nissa's good, I think. Just go over the top of everything they can possibly do. So if I'm playing Nissa, I like the 1 decay for shadows, but obviously it doesn't hit the fish. Probably still worth having. I don't think we need 4 fatal push. I'm just going to trim 1 push for 1 Nissa and see how that goes. Because like the push is only like it doesn't hit the fish. It doesn't hit Street Wraith. It hits Snap, which we don't care that much about. It might hit, you know, opposing Plague Engineers or maybe a Jace Vryn's Prodigy, but for the most part it's just Death Shadows, and we've got 3 pushes and 1 Abrupt Decay, so we've got answers equal to the number of shadows that they have. Plus the Lilianas might snag 1 depending on board state and stuff. So that's the thinking. Might not be very good thinking, but there was some thought put into it. Is this good enough? I guess so. I don't really like mulliganing in Thoughtseize mirrors. You saw how game 1 went. And we've got like... We've got 12 1-drops left in the deck, of which 11 are live on turn 1. So, you know. So they're doing the scry trick, which might mean they've kept a 1-lander potentially. Probably found a non-land on top. Or maybe they've kept a land heavy hand and wanted to look for something else, like spells. What do they take here? Honestly, it could be any of the 3. I assume it's just Nissa. It's a long way off, but it's fucking good. Yep. Don't disagree, opponent. Ooh. Ooh. That's a hard one to beat in these mirrors. That is such a good card, man. Tyler's Tracker. I think that represents like 3 for 1 at least, as things are. Boom, 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 boom. Ooh. They are hurting themselves. They got there. The impression I got was that they really did need a land. Down to 8. No big deal. There's a fish. The other annoying thing is that whilst Argoyf says 5/6 right now, once they've finished exiling stuff, it will go back to being a little baby. Pretty good turn for the opponent. Okay, well it looks like I think I'm probably going for play Quattl, chump block Death Shadow, untap, play Liliana, make them sack a thing. Hopefully they use the rest of their turn killing Liliana, but you never know. So, also obviously there's a chance we just draw into Fatal Push or something, which might affect my decision. Are those the forests there? Forest? Let's cast this. So hopefully we'll draw into something interactive. It's going to take a little while to do anything. That probably should have been cut, to be fair. I wasn't really thinking straight. This feels like K command, kill your thing, make you discard. Stop you from blocking. (13 + 8 is 21), so yeah, we are dead if they have that. Hopefully we can get 1 block in. Maybe it's a dismember, yeah. Trying to figure out how much life to pay. Alright, take 15. We are now drawing to exactly Fatal Push. Okay, game 3. Pretty fun. Didn't really feel like we did a ton in that whole game. Right, Dead of Winter's coming out. Probably just for a Plague Engineer, because Death Touch. Other than that, everything else seems fine. I'm wondering if I do need... Ah, that's too late, I've clicked submit. I was going to say, I'm wondering if I do need that 4th Fatal Push over something like... I don't know. The Hex Drinker, 1 Stone Vision, something like that, but... Let's see how we get on. Ugh. This Sultai deck feels like it could take like 1 or 2 stun denials. They pair well with the Tarmogoyfs. And yeah, they let you interact meaningfully on the stack. I don't know though. I'd be reluctant to change too much because it's been a blast so far. Okay. Keep. Hand looks really good. Good balance between mana and stuff. The only tension again is that we cannot do. We don't have a black fetch, so we can't just fetch basics to make the Quattl good. But you know, not really in a position to moan when the hand looks like this. Our turn 1 will probably just be Overgrown Tomb Hexdrinker. Opponent very kindly doing the work for us. Pardon me. Boom, 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 boom. So there's obviously usually a bit of tension against Death Shadow as well between whether or not to attack. And I think I'm going to just attack, basically. I think we're going to do a good enough job at keeping the Death Shadows dead. That's a helpful draw. That we can just start killing stuff. Take the Thoughtseize. Their turn is probably something like Thought Scour myself, make a fish. Would be my assumption. Which probably means ours is, I guess. I don't know. The other thing is if they make a Death Shadow, which we're fine with. So we still know all these cards. Yep. Okay. Yep. We take 6. Not blocking. 100% sure about opponent's sequencing there. Well, I suppose if you're casting the fish, you're casting the fish, aren't you? But it seems better to Thought Scour first and see what you're exiling and see what you draw. Removal. Give me some removal, please. Wow, okay, that went well. The one thing that's a little bit annoying is that it doesn't matter now. I was going to say the one thing that's a bit annoying is that we can't get the third one and have black up for a removal spell. Get the third snow basic, because it was a misty rainforest. I would have loved a snow-covered swamp there. That would have been less painful and better. But, you know, needs must. Yeah. So they just have two unknowns. We have a Snapcaster Mage, which is a seriously good last card. Okay, great. Nice. Think I will Inquisition them. Their own snap, this looks like. Probably give Thought Scour flashback, but not cast it, maybe? And then cast it after I've Inquisitioned them. Yep, you have an understanding opponent. They might fatal push one of my guys if they think that's better. They seem to. What would they go for? The snake? Okay, so they decided to try and get me dead. Oh, we're taking it to the streets. That Swamp Walk's going to get me, unfortunately. Or it may do. You know, we might be alright. I think they should attack. I think I'm not fetching. Spell. Not the end of the world. Quattle's nice. Draw the Tarmogoyf. Go to 4, which is crucially not 3. Play said Tarmogoyf. Go. We go to 1. And then we have to get them dead on the crackback, which we don't currently have sewn up. Obviously they just have to block. Yeah. Balls. Keep the 1 card in hand. Pretend we've got stuff. Their only play is to attack, surely. I can't imagine any world in which they do something else. Yeah. Great games though, really close. Really close. What's a bit tilting is that if I'd fetched before I cast Serum Visions, I could have drawn Liliana that turn, minused on the snap and won. But to be fair, I was just trying. I didn't think I would need all 5 mana and both cards, you know? I was trying to be cautious with my life total. Every opener looks great with this deck. The only downside being that you always want black on turn 1 and then, like, Simic on turn 2. Opponent's name is sort of half funny, half unpleasant. Well done. Burn. So the Goblin Guide is the best card, but if I don't take it, then my Fatal Push isn't doing much. And my intention at the moment for turn 2 is to push Goblin Guide plus play Misty and get like a tapped shock out of the way or something. I have no idea what our burn matchup will be like. I assume it's bad, because we're quite similar to Jund, and Jund is bad against burn. I'd love a free land. Tireless Tracker, eh? That's not a land. Okay, you'll go. Try and hopefully either get something good off the trigger or use the Misty Rainforest as a pseudo scry. Fatal Push I think we don't really want. So I'm going to fetch. I guess I'm going to fetch a tap land, get it out of the way. That ain't great. I'm doing this now because I want to hit a land drop. Ooze is a good pickup, but obviously it's much better when you have the ability to play it on 4 with 2 green up and use it to get it out of bolt range. And we're about to go to 11. The only thing of any comfort at all is that they've got to waste some time sacking their lands to get the sort of pseudo cards that they have access to. Oof. Fairly brutal. Oh, goddamn. I just don't want to take the damage as much as I want stuff. Like, not stuff, sorry, as much as I want to cast my spells. Okay, good. Yep. What do we get? Hopefully a spell. Nope. So I should have played the Delta. I was thinking that I'm gonna next turn I'm gonna play the Tracker and try and make loads of clues, but it's probably still wrong and greedy. I assume they're gonna sack 1 to draw. Just hard casting skewer. Okay. I don't want to fetch, I don't think, because 4, when they've got Boros Charms, 4 is different. We've only got 1 more Scavenging Ooze in the deck, which I assume is our only other main deck life gain. Let me just check that. Yeah, that's our only main deck life gain. We've got Weather the Storms in the side, which I can only assume are excellent here. Sack a land, yep. Spike, spike, you're dead would be what we don't want. Swiftspear is fine. We can answer that. Assume the bolt's killing the Tracker. And the Swiftspear is putting me to not very many. Go to 3. Wow, good draw. So I'm just trying to cut them off a draw. That's the only reason for that. Obviously we're dead to any burn spell, but we can beat creatures and lands. At least we're not dead this turn to creatures and lands, I should say. And I guess we have to just start attacking. Oh, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? That's not how that works, Chris, you idiot. And that would have been a perfect one to discard. Well, it didn't matter, mercifully, but, like, what was I doing? Just a weird, weird decision. Take the Weather the Storm, take these negates, I guess. And cutting Thoughtseize. Cutting Quattles as well, because I don't think they do a ton in the matchup, and they force me to use my mana base in a really painful way. Hand is fine. I think basic swamp is okay. That's a terrifying hand. Wow, that hand is good. This does not feel like we're winning. Stating the obvious, best draw is probably Fatal Push. I do like that Tarmogoyf. One thing being that it's too big to die to a burn spell on its own. Can't get Searing Blaze, for example. It can trade for a Searing Blaze and a Swift Spear, which they may decide is acceptable. Okay. You'll go. This is a tough way to do it. I presume they skewer this as well now. Oh, bolt, okay. I think that's just wrong. I think you're much better off using the skewer there, because, like, you can guarantee cast it for one, and it's not an instant, so bolt's just way more flexible. I don't know. Seems pretty wrong to me. See who this comes after. Probably Lily. It's annoying that we don't currently have anything like, you know, a blocker, but yeah. So Lily did pretty good. She was net neutral on life, took a card out of their hand, forced them to make some weird plays. I'll have to do it at some point, so I might as well do it now. would be that's my logic behind this rather optimistic Serum Visions. The intention being that I might draw a creature that can block. This feels an awful lot like being dead to me. The one good thing being that their life total is low as well. It's funny that it's displaying a storm count. I assume that's because I sideboarded in my one Weather the Storm. You go for it, opponent. Okay. I think I'm dead. 4, 5, 6, 7. I can't cast my push. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Okay, well that was a bit disappointing. I felt like we could have and maybe should have won the Grixis Shadow match. I do not think we are beating Burn in a million years. I think one Weather the Storm is really optimistic as well, like as a sideboard for that matchup. Like, what is that? Is not sufficient when your main deck is that bad against it. I'm starting to wonder whether there should be some Prismatic Vistas in the list as well. Because, like, what I did was I replaced 2 Wooded Foothills and a Bloodstained Mire, which I assume were there just because of card availability, with 2 Misties and a Polluted Delta. But it seems that Vista might be really good in this deck. Because the amount of times I've wanted to fetch, like, an off-colour snow basic. Not off-colour, but, like, you know, the swamp when I've got them only Misties in hand or whatever, it keeps coming up, so maybe Vista is just better. Oh, I was talking to some friends. Oh, excuse me. I was talking to some friends and I was saying that I think maybe Vista might be the best land in Modern. So, yeah, feel free to chime in with something in the comments about that, whether you think it's correct or not. I guess Eldrazi Temple is in with a shout. And looks good to me. There's a lot of good lands in Modern, to be fair. We've won another die roll as well. What have you got for us, Hyakume? Tanking hard over their mulligan. That or they're just distracted, but hopefully it means they're mulliganing to like 3. Inquisitioning someone who's mulliganed always feels good, although we did that against Burn in game 1 and then died loads. They've mulled 1 time. Sorry, I'm tired. Apologies. Yawning isn't very good spectator sport. Whereas watching a man struggle to play Magic is obviously quite entertaining. Oi, oi! Is this a mirror? Right. Title push doesn't matter because my creatures aren't particularly important. Go with that. I assume they're black-green rock rather than bug, although they might be bug. I'm going to pass. I'm going to play the Quattle on their turn. If I do it now, it just gives them a use for their turn 1 mana, lets them push it, whereas by passing, we get to make them... They'd probably have to play Tarmogoyf, and then we get to play the Quattle, push the Goyf. This is a bug mirror. How exciting. But their version is shit, because it's not the same as ours. We're not playing Collective Brutality. Although what a difference that could have made last round. But I'm sure their version's definitely shit. Come at me. I have the superior watery grave. Oh, you bitch. Probably take a Snapcaster Mage on account of it being the best card. Would be my guess. Or maybe just Fatal Push to protect your Tarmogoyf. No, they took the best card. So I'm inclined to agree with. So I guess they play one of these. Maybe they play like Marsh and push this or something. If you're keeping up, Storm count is 2. Yeah. Well, I don't mind that. Woof, this is good. You'll go. Wow. So they're Jund with a blue splash, are they? Or is there something deeper behind all this? Is there like... Or is it just a wild deck? Looks that way. K command, eh? I'm assuming it's going to be like 2 to this, get back my Goyf or something. Come on, opponent. You're being very slow. Okay. Weird, weird, weird. Don't necessarily agree with their use of that card then. Okay. Make me sack would be... Okay. Yeah. Well, given the board state is incredibly close, I'd rather be the player with the creatures, I think. So this is pretty good. Let's see what they've drawn. Okay. They'll probably have to minus. Both creatures approximately equal value, I would say. That's a great draw. We're in really good shape now. We're insulated against creatures. Cool, this is going great. I'm not even sure if I need to minus Lily, as in alt Lily. I think I don't. Cutting them from 5 lands down to 3 doesn't seem important. Cool, that went really well. What have we seen? Seen an outrageous mana base, which makes me want Ashiok. That's kind of it. In Jund Mirrors, I tend to cut a bit of discard because it kind of gets dead later on. I'm just treating this as a Jund Mirror. And when I say Jund Mirrors, I mean literally any mid-range decks in any colours, not just Jund colours. But like decks where you just throw powerful sorceries and creatures at each other until somebody has something and someone else has nothing. Like this matchup. I don't necessarily think you want too much discard post side, because if the games go long, which they always do, the discard is dead. Right, because this opponent seems to take a long time over everything, I'm just going to grab a drink. I'll be right back. Right, I am now appropriately soggy. This is a sweet one. I did not expect to be playing against almost a mirror match. Do you know what I would try as a one-off in this deck? For like... going over the top of everything is like one hostage taker. That would be amazingly fun. Hand is nice. Presumably we're probably going to get Inquisition or Thought Seized on turn 1. That certainly smells like it. Well, feast your eyes on my perfect hand opponent. Maybe they take my Inquisition just to, if they're wanting to keep their secrets. Yep, makes the most sense to me. How many basics can this deck possibly play? We've seen one island. Just trying to figure out how good Assassin's Trophy is. They can't be playing many basics. That would be preposterous. What do we think? Tarmogoyf? Yep. Okay. And play this tapped. And life's pretty good. These trophies are looking real nice. I bet they're not playing more than like... They've probably got one forest left. So their hand contains a Tarmogoyf. Yep. Go for it. Probably take the other Goyf. You nearly always don't take one of two things unless that thing is specifically excellent and you can answer the other. Yep. I'm going to hold my land. I don't think we need to fetch. No, let's just play this out. Got my 2-turn clock then. This mana base is a disaster, isn't it? I've tried to play 4-colour decks in Modern before, and like, unless you're like a base colour and 3 splashes, like Kiki Chord, for example, the where you're like green, maybe green-red, and then everything else is a light splash. The mana base just can't support it. It's not like Legacy. Legacy, you can literally play any old shit and you get away with it because dual lands. They can't attack. Right, well that's a weird attack, so I'm not blocking. It's a very suspect attack. Damnation, I guess. Please don't cast Damnation. They did not cast Damnation. I'm happy about that. Not sure what to expect here. Probably an instant speed removal. No? Okay. That attack was weird. Because normally, Tarmogoyfs just bounce, so there's not really any point. And if you attack 1 into 2, I can double block and then it dies. But, yeah, that's better. Good. So we've got one last round to play. Hoping to win it and go 3 and 2, which would be, I would say, probably a success for like an experimental-ish deck. Although it just won an event. The reason I decided to play it was it just won a Lat AM Magic series. I don't know what that means. I'm guessing from the names of the players that probably stands for Latin America. I'm not sure what the Magic series is. I've heard there was some new tournament series in South America equivalent to SCG, so maybe it's that. And it just won one. So it's clearly putting up some results in good hands, but, you know, these are my hands, so let's not set the bar too high. As the old saying goes, you can't polish a turd. Good hand again. I'll tell you what, the openers are consistently nice with this deck. You basically always have what you want. I'm going to just get a swamp. I'm worried about my life total. Ho-ho! Ho-ho! What have we here? Black-white Smallpox. It's a fun one, I guess. Thoughtseize on me. Take my Tarmogoyf, leave me with fuck all going on. That would be a little bit sad, wouldn't it? That's what happened. So the hope here is that they have something to do other than Thoughtseize me, and then I can get my snap down next turn. They do not. I'm going to play a 2-1 because it's literally the best thing I have going on. They're going to take one fatal push. Okay. Goif. That was clever. Good for me. Um, let's try and get them dead. Well, if I can keep summoning Tarmogoyfs, maybe we'll be alright. I guess we are playing 4, so maybe I deserve it. Probably not. Don't smallpox me, bro. That's fine. I assume they go down. Doesn't seem great. Got me. Creature. I guess this was a reason to fetch something different to the watery grave. I would love to eat that Raven's Crime. Makes my hand a bit less of a liability. We've got 2 dead creatures, so I can eat 1. Try and kill them. Now we've got 2 lethal threats, because if they kill one, I grow. If they kill the Goyf, I grow the ooze. So, yeah, we're doing fine. They might be in chump block with Mutavault mode, which is a good mode in opposite world. See what I got going on. Probably just lands. Yep. So they have to chump block with Mutavault. We're about to draw a good card as well. We've drawn a spell. Put themselves to 3, pretty bold. I'll just sack that. And this. So I've got a tireless tracker on top, I believe, which is obviously lethal. So you've got a turn to draw something, opponent. They drew something. Not sure how good said something is. Remains to be seen, I guess. The good news is it's now chump blocking. Okay. We win. Huzzah! Right, what's good here? Exiling Raven's Crime is fine. Although, no, I was going to say Surgical might be better for that, and then I realised that Surgical's so bad in this matchup because it's card disadvantage. We don't want anything too expensive because they go after your lands a little bit. I was thinking about Nissa, but I don't think I want Nissa. What doesn't seem great? Thoughtseizes in a top deck war, basically. Doesn't seem great. I think Inquisition's quite a bit better than Thoughtseizes in this matchup because their whole deck is cheap. I think their most expensive cards are usually Liliana of the Veil, and I think it's called Delirium Schemes, the each player discards 3 thing. I've seen a black-white Smallpox list playing Stoneforge Mystic as well, so maybe they've got that. Maybe they haven't. Yep, great hand. They have put us on the play. I guess they play a lot like 8 racks, so could be correct. Let's just get them. What are we worried about here? Probably actual smallpox is the scariest thing. Because smallpox is crazy good when your deck's built to enable it. They're going to Raven's Crime me? I guess. Oh, they've drawn a Thoughtseize, sure. I guess they just take Tarmogoyf then. Not sure this is right. We know most of their hand. They haven't got a ton going on. Probably just getting Raven's Crime this turn. Okay. Just take Lily. The bridge shouldn't be a problem because we've got like trophies and decay for it. I'd dearly love to get this sort of Tarpit out of my hand, but these are good threats because they work around Bontu's Last Reckoning, and their Ensnaring Bridge isn't very good while they're stuck on 2 lands, to be fair. We're doing okay. Am I right in saying we were a game up? I can't remember. Yeah, we did sideboard and I think we won game 1. So this is looking like it's going to be the last couple of minutes of this video. If we win, here comes the bridge. So we know that their last card is garbage, and hopefully we're going to draw something that answers the bridge at some point. That does not. But everything's fine. I'm not going to crack the fetch in case we get Tireless Tracker. Their last card is literally useless at the moment. You got me, opponent. You knocked this Wrath out of my hand. But I probably should have sided out. Wow. Well, there's a card. Yeah, I'll lose 2 life. You got me. I guess I probably should take that Bontu's Last Reckoning out their hand. It makes their bridge better, but it also means that if I start vomiting zombies later, they actually live. That's the clock they needed. You take 3. One, 2. Their most of their removal is like sack based anyway, so it's probably not safe. Oh, well, maybe we're not as far ahead as I hoped. Yeah, this is kind of what I feared. However, their bridge is going to be potentially problematic for them now if they draw some 3-drops. Trophy. We're basically racing this Shrieking Affliction now. Okay, well, I can attack with a 0-1, so the joke's on you, opponent. Please draw stuff you can't cast. Would be very grateful. That's the opposite. That's really good. Go to 1. Can't cast anything. So if they don't make me discard a card, oh, that's great. And by great, I mean dead, and I shouldn't have played it. Piss. I was just thinking I could gain some life, and then obviously that's not how this works. I just need them to draw another 3-drop, because they obviously drew one last turn. There's a land. Okay. If they plus that, we lose this game. God damn, I thought we were really far ahead. What did I decide was rubbish? Dead of Winter, I decided was rubbish. I'd probably just rather have any creature. Maybe Negate's good enough. Don't know, it's a lousy top deck in a top deck war. I'll play like 1. Try that. I don't want to lose to Smallpox. It just feels like it should be shit when actually it's quite good. Abrupt Decay is a good one. They probably take said Abrupt Decay. Yep. Protect their stuff. I don't think Fatal Push has any targets in their deck aside from Mutavolts, which is annoying. But we drew it, so there we go. Okay, well I've got plenty I'm happy to discard. This doesn't seem important. Retrace Raven's Crime. Take one. I think. Get one of them gone. Take a damage or two. Not really interested in playing that Polluted Delta. Let's race. Okay, I've got a lot of them. Okay, take two. So I'm just going to pass turn. Hopefully they'll very kindly stop drawing copies of the rack. Smallpox? Brutality. Okay. Well, at least they missed on the one half. We take 0. Which has got to be good, hasn't it? Just going to keep cards in hand, invalidate their racks. Hope that my Tarmogoyf lives. Pretty good. Good news is we're not dying. Bad news is we've already used an Abrupt Decay, so we're down to just trophies. I'm going to cast Serum Prisons. Try to find one of my answers to that stupid bridge. I can unearth a Coatl. No, I can't because I don't have one in play. And they've got 3 mana now, so they can cast all their stuff. They take my Unearth, I assume. Trophy. Trophy. Not trophy. You'll go. This feels a little bit like game 2 where I thought we were winning and then we didn't. Hey, that's not bad. They hurt themselves and they trade for a card we don't care about. That's a good one. Eventually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we don't have lethal yet, even if I do get the bridge. They know my whole hand. They still cast... Oh, they were thinking about the 2 damage because they know they're missing, but it's worth it with the bridge, I guess, is their decision. We do now have lethal if we draw a trophy. I will be casting that Coatl on the end step. Raven's Crime, okay. Got me. I just want that trophy. Come on. We've got 3, I think, to draw. Yeah, we're just passing. No interest in playing either of these spells. Probably was better to discard Liliana then. Trophy. Yeah, bitch. Up yours. Put them to 1, I think. Yeah. That was probably bad to play that as well. I assume we're just winning though. Yeah, cool. Nice. Well, we got the customary 3 and 2, not good, not bad, uh, typical sort of league result. The deck is, I would say, basically good. I think it's shit against burn to the point where I would like to change quite a lot. I also really hate surgical extraction, so like I would probably change the graveyard hate. I'd either play something like 2 to 3 Nile spell bombs, and if I only play 2 spell bombs, then make the other one a second Ashiok. And I would probably play another Weather the Storm over the Nissa. Yeah, I mean, I like the deck very much. I thought it was sweet. I enjoyed playing it, and I thought all those games were fun, close, interactive, proper Magic. So I hope you agree. I hope you like the video, and yeah, just in case you missed it, I've been trying to be a little bit more professional with the channel. So we've got like a proper name now. It's called Bubble Wizard MTG as opposed to just my name. I've set up a Twitter, which I'm probably going to have to get to grips with. I haven't done anything on there yet, so I need to figure out how to tweet and try and sort of push things a bit more. So any support you can give in terms of recommending things to your friends, obviously likes, comments, subscriptions, anything like that is really welcome. Anything like, you know, even as simple as you getting in touch with a deck request or something is always really appreciated. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys next time.